Okay, everyone. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay? Good, good, good. So welcome. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are happy to bring again to our community Bridges to Better Business, the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center, the Chamber of Commerce, and Cornwall and the County CFTC are again partnering this year in a digital format to try and connect entrepreneurs and people who help entrepreneurs and celebrate their resiliency and try and learn from one another and get a good understanding of the programs that are out there. And so we hope to do that for you today. Today is all about learning about some specific services that we have out there right now. We had a great event on Monday where we showcased how some of our restaurants had pivoted and designed some clever and creative ways to earn some revenue through the pandemic. And so we have a whole big schedule the rest of the week, which I will elaborate on as well. We are going to be recording, which I'm going to double up on here. So in case people are busy this lunch hour, we're going to be able to share this so that everyone can learn what our community support service organizations have to offer. So with that being said, we want to kick it off by first saying a big thank you to our sponsors, Tim Hortons as our main sponsor. Anyone who was one of the first registrants for today's session will receive a Tim Hortons gift card. We thank them for that. The training board, the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, McDonald Duncan, FedDev, were all really important sponsors for us to be able to showcase some of our business, our resilient businesses via video. And of course, the organizing partners are the CFTC, the Business Enterprise Center, and the Cornwall and Area Chamber of Commerce. So my name is Leslie Thompson. I am the Executive Director of Cornwall and the County's Community Futures Development Corporation. I have the pleasure of hosting you today, and I'm going to be kicking us off with some welcoming words from Jim McDonald, our Member of Provincial Parliament. So I'll ask Jim to unmute here and say a few welcoming words.
Well, thank you, Leslie, and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to day number 2 of Bridges to Better Business, which is one of our region's long-standing Small Business Month activities. And I want to thank the host of this event, the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center, Cornwall and Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Cornwall and the County's Community Futures Development Corporation. The goal of Small Business Month is to highlight the resiliency of small business, especially those hardest hit by this pandemic. And as of December 2018, 97.9% of businesses in Canada were small businesses. So it's clear to see that small businesses are the backbone of the economy, and entrepreneurs keep our region's heart beating. Bridges to Business, or to Better Business, is all about celebrating these businesses and bringing entrepreneurs together to help them learn best practices from one another, and to learn all about the resources out there so they can help them. And I'm pleased to introduce our 4 panelists today who are about to talk about these resources. We have Simone, Sherriff of the Sherriff from the FedDev, Stephen Beamish from Launch Lab and Digital Mainstreet, Rose D'Amato from Business Development Bank, and of course, Leslie Thompson from the Cornwall and the County's CFTC. So I hope everyone in attendance today picks up something new, and if there's ever any support that our office can give you as a small business or an entrepreneur, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you, and let's have a great session.
Thank you very much, Jim, for those welcoming words. And I did, while you were speaking, see a conversation in the chat asking if we are recording all sessions. Yes, we are. With this new technology, we're also finding out new glitches, and unfortunately Monday session, we did run into a glitch, but the video is live. So we encourage you to visit the Facebook of one of the organizing partners to catch that really great video from Joanne of Cup of Joe's. And yes, all of the other sessions, we're going to double record to make sure that we really get that good content out there for you. So thank you again, Jim. I now ask Simone Sherriff from FedDev, our course funder at the CFTC and contributor to Small Business Week and supporting the Business Enterprise Center and their continuing of this Bridges to Better Business event, to say a few words. Simone?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Leslie. Good afternoon and bonjour. I'm so happy to be here today on behalf of FedDev Ontario. I missed out last year, so I'm glad I'm able to participate in your events for Small Business Month this time around. Even if it's virtually, I am happy to be here. It has been a difficult year for everyone, and small businesses continue to face economic hardship and uncertainty resulting from the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Small businesses play a key part of our economy. They invest in our communities. They transform new ideas into market-ready products and services, and they unlock economic opportunities that create jobs. And we know that when small businesses prosper, so does Canada. 1.2 million small businesses led by 863,000 entrepreneurs, like you entrepreneurs out there. You make up 98% of all business operations in Canada, and you employ over 70% of the total labor force in the private sector. So small businesses contribute about 52% to our gross domestic product as well. Now, COVID-19 has emphasized just how important small businesses are to their communities and to our economy. And in the midst of this difficult time, they continue to show remarkable resilience. Many small businesses have proven critical to our health, our safety, security, and daily activities, as well as the cultural and entertainment pastimes that add so much richness and quality to our lives. I'm honored to participate in today's event and to be able to recognize your contribution, your agility, perseverance, hard work, determination, and ambition, especially at this very difficult time. I want to reiterate that the Government of Canada is here for Canadians and businesses during this time. Since March 2020, the government has rolled out a number of programs to support businesses as part of the COVID-19 Economic Response Plan. I encourage you to visit canada.ca for more information. Usually on the canada.ca website, you'll always find a section there targeting or directed at businesses where you can click and see information about the programs that are currently open. Now, in particular, you may have heard of FedDev Ontario's Regional Relief and Recovery Fund, or the RRF, in May 2020. Just recently, FedDev has been allocated an additional $184 million, bringing the total support of the program to $436.4 million, and that's available to provide continued support to businesses in Southern Ontario. Now, the investments we have made since its inception just 4 months ago are expected to support nearly 26,000 businesses and organizations, maintain 43,000 jobs, and help businesses cover operating costs and prepare for a more stable future. For those of you who are not familiar with the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, is our formal name, or FedDev Ontario, as we are commonly referred to, our mandate is to strengthen economic capacity for innovation, entrepreneurship, and collaboration, and to promote the development of a strong and diversified Southern Ontario economy. I work in the small business services section of the agency, where our goal is to help Ontario entrepreneurs access government business information. We provide information and resources on starting and running a business in Ontario, such as business planning resources and secondary market research, which we provide free of charge. If you want to learn more about what we offer and how we can help you learn about what's available to businesses, I encourage you to please visit our website at www.feddevontario.gc.ca, or you may call us to speak to one of our knowledgeable information officers, and you may reach us at 1-888-576-4444 for more information, and I can put that in the chat later on. I would once again like to thank Candy and her colleagues at the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center, and Leslie as well, for their continued and valued partnership, their efforts in organizing today's events, and for their continued hard work and service to small businesses all year round, in particular this year throughout 2020 with its unique challenges. So I look forward to this great event, and I wish you all continued success. Merci.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you for taking the time to join us. And FedDev is certainly a really important cornerstone of the overall relief and recovery effort. So we thank you for your continued contribution to small business in our community.
Of course, thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next speaker, I see Doug Stewart in the chat box with his hand up. Is that because you actually have a question, or did you click a button?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. No, I'm new to Zoom.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we're covering everyone. So I'll lower your hand. At any time, you are welcome to put your hand up, but there also will be questions near the end, so everyone will have an opportunity to do so. So we have three speakers: BDC, Stephen Beamish from Launch Lab, who will also talk about Digital Mainstreet, and then myself from CFTC are going to talk a little bit more about what we have to offer. We're going to have about 5 to 7 minutes, so it'll be a quick overview, but really it's to try and encourage anyone who can hear themselves in any of the programs or services that we're offering, to encourage you to reach out to us to learn more. But certainly we want to make sure that we leave room at the end for a conversation, and we will be able to share this at the end, the video at the end as well. So with that being said, I will welcome Stephen Beamish.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'll just take a couple of minutes to introduce myself in terms of where I fit. I'll talk a bit about Launch Lab and Digital Mainstreet for Eastern Ontario. So I am an entrepreneur in residence at Launch Lab, and Launch Lab is a regional innovation center that is provincially funded, and we cover most of Southern Ontario, from Trenton down to Picton, over to Cornwall, and back up through Smith Falls and Bancroft. The head office of Launch Lab is based out of Kingston, Ontario, and how we operate is as we're funded, we provide services to small businesses and entrepreneurs that are looking for advice. So me, as an entrepreneur in resident at Launch Lab, my background, I was the Chief Marketing Officer and Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Mytel Telecom Company. And I left there around 7 years ago. So I represent providing support on marketing and sales. We have an entrepreneur in resident who's also our CEO, Scott Runty. And Scott is, his background is finance. So we have people that cover intellectual property, finance, marketing, sales, operations, and then we have a few specialists as well. The whole idea is we help those businesses that may be just starting out, and we also may be working with businesses that have been around for a while but are looking to increase their presence or cross a chasm per se to build growth. And the services we provide are predominantly advisory, which means we'll sit down, we'll work on a plan. We'll also recommend partners to support and help them. But in addition, we have other programs such as a program we have for workshops where we have a bunch of new businesses that may be starting up, and we can go through all the programs as a, the 101s, let's call it, of starting as an entrepreneur. And then we also have a program called Amplify, where we kind of dig a bit deeper. We get in and we will work deeply with a business over a period of 6 months. We'll set objectives, we'll set homework, and we'll typically see the growth and progression of those businesses. So we've been really lucky to be working with this group and had great successes with these businesses from right across the board. So any questions you have about this, you can check us out at launchlab.ca, and you'll get a lot more information. So working with partners like Leslie has been really great to be able to provide support for those businesses. Of course, feel free to ask me any questions. If you have any questions, just let me know. The second portion that I want to talk about is what we're doing as part of Digital Mainstreet for Eastern Ontario. So great partner, FedDev, that has ran this and driven this program, and we are actually working in concert with Invest Ottawa. So Invest Ottawa is responsible for Ottawa proper, but they've brought us in to support and build the program out across Eastern Ontario. We've been doing it now for about, it's probably coming up at least a month or so. I'm losing track, spending a lot of time, very, very busy with it. Let me kind of walk through how it works. So what happens is there's many programs. If you go to Digital Mainstreet website, or we have one as well, which is launchlabdms.ca or .com. And predominantly all the content comes from the main Digital Mainstreet website. But for businesses in Eastern Ontario, they may apply to that. And there is a couple of components that are of interest to how it works with us in terms of the future-proof component. So you can apply for a shop here, which allows you to get a Shopify website. They help you build it, get you started. And then a lot of those businesses need to be quote unquote future-proofed. It works for any business across Eastern Ontario. There's an application process. And so I encourage you to take a look at that to see if you qualify or not for that. And then you can apply to the future-proof program, to the Shop Here program. The other portion is future-proof, and that's where we come in. So many businesses that have already gone through the Shop Here and have that basic Shopify website need support in turning that on and really finding out the benefits of that so that it can generate and improve their business efficiency. The whole idea of future-proof is to help those businesses that may have a website, may not have a website, but really need to prepare themselves as a result of the change in business that came about as part of COVID. Meaning people are becoming a lot more comfortable with digital and working in digital and being able to purchase stuff online. So it's really important for these businesses to really up their game on the digital side. So in fact, future-proof their business. So when a business applies to that, and you can be under, it's for anybody in the small business, under 499 employees can apply. And once they come into the program, we greet them, and then we have what we call transformation teams. Those transformation teams are students at predominantly, because we're working through Eastern Ontario, they're students that come from St. Lawrence College, Loyalist, Queens, et cetera, et cetera. And we create teams of 5 that have expertise in digital, expertise in website design, expertise in content writing. So when you come in, you make your application, you come in, we go and we triage, as we call it. We have a discussion with you and say, what are your needs? Oh, well, I need my social media fixed. My website, I don't know anything about it. I've got a Shopify site, but how do I build it out? And I've got a bunch of customers, but can I communicate with them? What's the best way to do that? We will listen to that, and then we'll put together a proposal and say, here are all the things that we can do for you. We get you to agree to that, and we adjust it accordingly. It's all free. I've got to really stress that. And then the idea is our teams will work with you and actually do the work for you. So go that step beyond just advising, but actually doing. Nothing is done without your approvals, but then once we get there, we'll show you, we'll update you, and then at the end, we have an actual final presentation where we present all the changes we've made for you. We then provide a whole bunch of resources to help that business maintain and grow after the transformation team has completed their work. So I can tell you that we have across Eastern Ontario, right now, when I look at our pipeline, we have over 60 businesses that have applied and are eligible and that we have communicated with. 13 of those businesses have already gone through the program. Program typically, what we have found is it averages 3 to 4 weeks that our students are working with your business. And we actually go out and survey all those businesses that have been through the program. And I can tell you that we have been receiving some very, well, every one of them has been very favorable and talking about how this has really changed their ability to be prepared and to really have a chance and an opportunity now to really extend their market reach, extend their brand, and be able to drive more business their way. So I'm really thrilled that we could, through the support of FedDev, and I congratulate them on this program, has really made a difference. And we're hearing that from our customers. And so we're excited to see the program grow in terms of more and more businesses hopping aboard. And we're excited to help them transform. The program's running right now. It's running from now all the way through to the end of March. And so we encourage you to, if you want to reach out to me, and you have there on our on this page, Michael Kautz, who is working under me in terms of supporting all of the businesses that are there. So you have his contact information as well. But yeah, it's a great program in conjunction with FedDev and Invest Ottawa and all our partners across Eastern Ontario, because we do run a steering committee to make sure that everybody is briefed and up to date in terms of how things are going. So that's a fairly quick overview of the program.
Thank you very much, Stephen. We do have a quick question for you in the chat box from Barbara Leduc. If you already have a website with 10,000 plus SKUs but can't afford to pay someone to put the other 25,000 SKUs on the site, is there financial support for this through the Digital Mainstreet program?
Well, okay, so for the program that we're doing in terms of financial, we don't provide financial support. What we do is our teams provide a service for free to help, but we would have to look to see what that is. If it's just entering data into the SKU data, we could take a look at that. I can't say exactly what that, I don't know the details of it, but it's certainly, if I encourage you to connect with myself or with Michael after, and we can take a look to see if we can help you there for sure.
Right. Yeah, and Barbara, I'll talk a little bit more about our technology innovation program and how it works with Digital Mainstreet later on. So we might be able to give you a better idea a little bit later on in our program here today. So any other quick questions for Stephen? I see Doreen.
Yeah, I see another one. Doreen, no, you do not have to have a Shopify site at all. I would say right now, out of those 60 businesses, I would say at least 40, 45 of them do not have a Shopify, nor do they need that. Then you're absolutely welcome to the program, and we're happy to help you. Do these businesses need a website at all? Well, we always encourage websites. They're a great idea.
Sorry, I didn't, and what I meant was, do they need to have a website in order to apply?
Oh,
is that
okay.
Is that a requirement in order to apply?
No, we haven't had a situation like that. We can help. Of course, we won't build your website from scratch. But we can, if you've got some basic website, we can certainly enhance it and build it out. If you are communicating with your clients by, for example, using MailChimp or wanting to communicate, and you have a list, we can do all of that as well. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question.
You got one more from Bob in the chat. Are there currently any Cornwall or SDG businesses or Akwesasne businesses participating in the program yet?
Yeah, so Leslie, I've got, we've got a list of where they're all from. I just off the top of my head, I think there's a few that come from there. And I know we've talked about others that are coming into the program. So I can't speak to specifically, but we certainly have a good register of businesses right across, all the way across our regions.
Yeah, well, and hoping to get more, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Encouraging you to, and again, what we're doing now is we're going to build out case studies and customer testimony. We've got testimonials already about how pleased the businesses are. So we're going to start promoting those and giving them to Leslie and team as well to promote so that you get a good sense of what this has done and what this means for the businesses out there.
Thank you. I know that we'll have some more chat at the end. So Stephen, you're welcome to stay and join the conversation at the end. But for now, to keep us moving, I'm going to ask Rose D'Amato from the Business Development Bank of Canada to talk a little bit about what the BDC does for entrepreneurs.
Sure. So thank you, Leslie and Candy and Greg for organizing this event. It's great to be at something that we can do some virtual events, as Simone said, whether it's in person or virtual. It's fantastic. BDC's been busy. Our first focus was really with the COVID financing. We had a huge request, huge volumes of requests, and the first few months, that's really what our focus was, as well as helping my existing clients just figuring out where the pulse was, whether they needed postponements, principal postponements, how we could help them. We also are still helping businesses with their growth plans, because there are a lot of businesses that we're planning growth plans or we're planning some type of expansion, and they still need to do it with COVID. So we're getting through those, and we're taking COVID into effect, and we're also taking COVID out of effect as well, because some of the clients we are with, they were only affected for a shorter period of time, and they have been resilient. As Simone said before, like, it's amazing what some of my clients have done. I am so in awe every day with the different things they've done to really equip their business to get through COVID, to also realign what they're doing and really focus on their operations and many of them making themselves more efficient as well, doing things in different ways. It's fantastic. Our focus again has been in the financing, but we've also, I think we've done a lot more in the advisory during COVID. We've introduced some different mandates to help for those that do not qualify for the digital Mainstreet. We do have online financing. We also introduced an operational efficiency, which focuses on cash flow resiliency and workplace health risk mitigation. So we are focused on really helping our clients become stronger, be able to pivot and come out of COVID again stronger than they were possibly before, or taking advantages of new directions. So we've also been doing a lot of HACCP or ISO certifications for clients who did pivot their business in manufacturing, for instance, to do hand sanitizer, because that you do need certifications to do those, or else you might be might be getting a recall of some sort. For all of those food manufacturers who are essential services and are seeing their businesses grow, being able to get them into larger chains or export, all of those need food certifications, as well as the CFIA or Canadian Food Agency has also introduced a new protocol for food to protect Canadians, and those all need types of certification. So we've been really working hard with those as well. Our advisory group, knowing that a lot of our clients or prospective clients, Canadian entrepreneurs as a whole, don't have a lot of cash flow. We've had some free consulting services to solve small problems or one specific problem. We've had a lot of virtual roundtables that were organized with specific subject matter for specific types of industries, where there was a presenter, and then these were limited to about 10 people. They were able to really discuss what each of them's been doing, and they can learn from each other. And we've also provided a lot of workshops on different subject matter, a lot of it being on forging forward and resiliency. And everything that we have can all be found on bdc.ca. There's a toolkit. There's also all sorts of different resources. If you just put in COVID, you'll find a lot of different things that can help you with your business that you can do on your own. There's courses and such. So really our focus has been not just doing some financing, but really helping give that advice, and also thirdly, to connecting them to the different resources like the CFDC grants, the Canadian manufacturing grants, all of the different initiatives that are coming out from the start of COVID to trickling out now. Every time we hear about something, and I know that I've had a discussion with one of my clients or a prospective client, that's where I'm going to reach out and try to connect them with those resources. If anybody has any questions about any of the things that we've been doing specifically, please feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Rose. Anyone have any questions now for Rose? We work a lot in partnership with the Business Development Bank of Canada to round out, now in COVID, but pre-COVID, we worked a lot in partnership to round out financing packages. So someone would go through their traditional lender to try and access funding for, maybe it's a building purchase or a business purchase or working capital, and their bank is able to give them X amount. The BDC and the CFDC work in partnership to try and fill the gap in whatever the financing package is. So we work alongside BDC quite often. They are actually in our office normally with us with a cohabitation agreement, but we are cohabitating only digitally right now. So I would definitely encourage you to reach out to BDC if you haven't a relationship with the Business Development Bank of Canada. It's a good idea to have one, even if you don't have any funding that you need right now, because diversifying your network of where you access business funding is a good idea, because sometimes we have situations like we're in now, and the banks might be tightening up, and it's good to have someone else to call. So thank you very much, Rose.
You're welcome.
So I guess that's me. So Community Futures Development Corporation started out to provide rural regions with access to funding and advice, because it was identified 30 plus years ago that the entrepreneurs in rural regions were underserved. And we continue now 33 years on with that mandate to support entrepreneurs in rural regions. There's about 260 some independent not-for-profit offices across Canada, and we continue a strong relationship with FedDev and all of the other regional economic development offices across Canada, who continue to be the main funder of CFDCs. However, they do operate independently, and they are governed by independent board of volunteer community leaders, and they all have their own catchment area. So the catchment area of the CFTC that I'm lucky enough to be a part of is Cornwall, the United Counties of Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, and Akwesasne. So if you are a business owner in that catchment area, we want to talk with you. You know, same idea. If you have just an idea, if you have some funding that you need immediately, or you just want to explore what else is out there, we just really encourage you to give us a call. So what we have right now, Simone had mentioned a big support that we are administering is the local regional relief and recovery fund. There's a lot of confusion about this fund because a lot of people think that it is the same as CEBA, but it is not. So all of the banks, they do have the Canada Emergency Business Account, which is up to $40,000 to help with relief and costs associated with dealing with the pandemic. But CFTCs also have a $40,000 loan, and the terms are the same, so it can be easily confused. It's 0% until the end of the year 2022, and if you pay it back before that time, and if you haven't received CEBA, then you are eligible for up to 25% forgivable portion. If you have received CEBA, you can still access it if the costs are over and above what you had applied to through the CEBA loan, but you just don't get that forgivable portion. So there is still money available locally in that fund, and you heard Simone mention that there was a top up to this fund. There was a top up. We don't have the specific details about what that is going to be looking like yet. Hopefully very soon. I think the government wants to be smart about it and see what the top up to CEBA looks like before they issue, you know, what the local results are, because it's not our goal to be to create redundancies in any of the systems, but we want to be complementary and strategic when we come out with these funding programs. So seeing that we've got more news on what CEBA is looking like, I expect that the Regional Relief and Recovery Fund program will have details very soon. But that's not to say we still have money left from our first stream. So, you know, if you're still struggling with the costs associated with PPE or reconfiguring your spaces, or you're still struggling with you know, paying some of your bills because you have reduced revenue because of COVID, we really encourage you to reach out to us. CFTC, we still are issuing our traditional loans. So, you know, I say to our team all the time that loans really are the bread and butter of what we do. We do a lot of things. We are partners in this community. We support a lot of community economic development initiatives. We run programs, but really the core of what we do continues to be our loans. So these loans through our stream with FedDev can go up to $300,000. And that's new. Up until recently, it was up to $250,000, and now we can go up to $300,000. And this funding is really to be this gap filler, as I mentioned before. So we always encourage everyone to have a good relationship with a bank or a credit union first, and work with them to get the best that you can get through them as most affordably as you can, and work with us as well so that we can ensure that if there are any gaps that we can fill those gaps for you. A lot of people say, well, if you're taking on more risk and you're kind of an alternative lender, you must be charging a lot, and that's not necessarily true. The rates are quite low, and I think our rates aren't never going to be as low as you would get with your traditional lender, and they're not always going to be the same as what BDCs are, but they're very reflective of the amount of risk that we're willing to take. So outside of our lending programs, so our regional relief and recovery funding and our traditional lending, as I mentioned, we also run other community economic development projects, and we also provide advisory services and referral services. So we'd like to think certainly that we are well networked and we have a good understanding of all of the different programs and services that are out there. We work very hard to be very aware of all of the different grants that you could be eligible for. Because a lot of the time, let's be honest, you're an entrepreneur and you're looking for free money first if it is available, and then you'll fall back on the financing when it makes sense to. So we have in the past run for the last 7 years grant programs. We currently don't know if we are going to have another grant program that we're administering. We had run the Eastern Ontario Development Program for 4 years. Or 5 years. We had run the Rural Innovation Initiative program for 2 years. That is currently all allocated, but we continue to work with our federal partners and our provincial partners to try and encourage investment in our region through CFDCs to support rural entrepreneurs. So stay tuned, keep the conversation going with us, and we're always on the lookout for this kind of funding for you. In addition to the funding, we have our advisory services. So you are perhaps a startup or a growing company and you're not really sure where to go or where to start. There's all of these different programs out there that it's not always easy to keep track of. What I'd like to say is that we can kind of be that guide for you. And you don't always have to start with us. You can start at the Business Enterprise Center or the Chamber or the BDC, but as long as you start somewhere and you maintain a strong relationship, we all work very well together in this region. We're very good collaborators. So, we talk often and we're always going to be looking out for the best advice and the best place for you to get that advice. We also have our Technology Innovation Program right now. So that program is funded by RED. It is a cost sharing program. So the provincial government invested in the concept of the Technology Innovation Program. The CFCC is administering it, and the clients only have to cover half of the costs associated with this program. So how it works is if you're an entrepreneur and you know that you need to adopt technology, maybe you want to go digital with your bookkeeping, or you want an e-commerce site, or you need better inventory control systems, or you want to start implementing a CRM system, but you're overwhelmed by the options, you don't want to make costly mistakes, we provide that service for you. So we will go in and we will do a diagnostic. We will understand what your top pain points are and which of those pain points can be solved by the use of implementing technology. Our advisors will go out and they will review the options for you, but review them based on what your comfort with technology is, what your budget is, the size of your staff, and we'll make recommendations, and then we will work with you on an implementation plan, and we will stay there. So we don't just throw these new technologies at you and walk away. We ensure that you really understand them and that you start using them and implementing them every day. And so we're there along the way for training as well. So that's a great program that we launched. Was supposed to be launched April 1st, and that was a bit delayed. We ended up launching it in March, but we're working with 9 companies now, and we have room for about another 6 companies. And so we're encouraging anyone who is interested in finding out more about how technology can benefit their business to reach out to us. And Jamie Tyrell, our account manager, is joining us today, and so he would be the one that you would speak with if you want to learn more about any of the loans or any of the TIP program that we have right now. So there's also other programs that our partners are administering. If you're a female entrepreneur, our partners our sister organization in Northumberland has been successful in receiving funding to deliver to women entrepreneurs grants up to $5,000. It's called the RE3 program. So if you are a woman entrepreneur and you still need some support for costs associated with PPE, reach out to us and we can ensure that you get referred to our sister organization in Northumberland. And there's a lot of other programs that are out there that you might not be aware of that you're eligible for. So, really the moral of the story from our perspective is just to reach out and have that conversation so that we can explore, what kind of support services are out there that you might not be aware of yet, and we can make those referrals for you. So that's a quick summary of what we have going on here at the CFDC. Does anyone have any questions specific to what we offer? Oh, I see a question in the chat box from, Brittany maybe already has responded. Yeah, so all of SDG, North and South, Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry is what we cover, as well as Cornwall and Akwesasne. So that's it for me. We again want to thank our sponsors, Tim Hortons, the Training Board, Mohawk Council of Akwesasne, McDonald Duncan Dore Law Office, FedDev, and of course my partners, Cornwall Business Enterprise Center and the Cornwall Area Chamber of Commerce. We want to encourage you to attend all of the other activities that we have going on this week. It's a busy week and we've got a lot to say and we've got a lot of businesses to showcase. So stay tuned, follow us on social media, visit the main page is through the Chamber of Commerce website. And maybe I'd ask if you wouldn't mind sharing that in the chat again, either Greg or Shannon to the main event page. Tomorrow we're showcasing some retail industries. Friday we're showcasing some tourism industries, and then there's another panel with different guests on Thursday evening. So thank you very much for joining us. We have about 10 minutes left, so we're hoping we can open it up to some conversation, and anyone who might have questions for any of the panelists or just any other general comments or questions.
Leslie, what kind of programs or projects have you been able to do with your TIP program? Like the types of technology that you've been able to work with small businesses?
Thanks for that question. So there's a lot who are really interested in going totally paperless bookkeeping. And we happen to have one of the best bookkeepers in the region who we are working with through our program. And so they build out customized cloud-based bookkeeping packages for those clients. So you really don't even need paper anymore at all. They implement a lot of the different applications that speak to one another. So a lot of what would have taken you a lot of time in documenting and inputting before is automated, and you get really real-time information about where you are financially instead of looking backwards over the last 30 days or 60 days or longer. Sometimes it's the last year. So you get really real-time information on what your business has done and where you're trending within 2 weeks. And so that's been a really powerful one, and about half of our clients are actually interested in that. We have another trucking company who was doing everything manually and had a parts department that really didn't have a very efficient way of organizing inventory. So we're working with them to identify an inventory management system which speaks to their bookkeeping as well. We have another client who wants an e-commerce site. So what we can do there is we work with the Digital Mainstreet program to make sure that they get as much as they can optimized through that totally free service. And then we can kind of, again, come in and fill the gaps and try and, you know, anything else that they might need support with, work with them on after that. The best way, Barbara, to reach out is to call us or email us here. That's my contact information. And so if you have a thought or you just want to have a conversation, send an email and we'll set up a call, and I'll depending on what you're looking for, we'll bring in the right people who can fill all those needs. Thanks a lot, Doreen, for your comments. And yeah, the RE3 grant still has funding available. So if you know any female business owner, it's an opportunity you don't want to miss. It's not a terribly painful process. I think there's some individuals in this chat box I know who have applied, and it really, you know, you can get it all done in an hour. So it's really not too complicated. Anyone have any other questions? Are there any other grants for women-owned business? There's 0% loans that I'm certainly aware of, Megan. They potentially have non-repayable components of them. It also might depend on your industry. I think keep in mind a lot of the non-repayable funding right now is COVID related. So just in general, there's other programming too, though. So there's, you know, a digital skills for youth program, which I thought of, which might help. You know, was it Barbara looking for some help with creating the SKUs on our site? This can provide a wage subsidy to get youth hired who is looking for some kind of digital skills themselves. So, you know, we can go digging for you. There's a lot out there that sometimes becomes uncovered through our networks and through our referrals. It's a good comment. Simone Perro is a really great organization that we partner with, and they have learning circles, and a lot of this is built around partnering and building up your network of other people who can. It's not always about just tracking down the money. Sometimes it's who you know who can help you out and act as somewhat of a sounding board for you, so you don't go crazy sometimes all by yourself as an entrepreneur.
Nanda had a question. She has applied for the RE3 for one of her companies, but has another business in the corporation and would like to know if they can apply for the second business as well.
That's a good question, and I don't have the answer to it, but I can find out for you, Nanda. So I'll find out, and I have your email, so I'll make that call and I'll send you an email about it. We have a few minutes left. Any other questions for any of other panelists?
I just want to say that you guys are in the right place right now, and spread the word and really take advantage of what's available and reach out to anybody here. Everyone here works so well and so closely with one another that you wouldn't be going to the wrong place. If you go to Leslie, she can call Rose and Rose can call Candy. Everybody knows each other and is here to support and really take advantage of what's available right now. That's all I would say.
Agreed. You just need a starting point, and you just need to build the relationships.
Yeah, and I'll also reiterate what Simone just said, is typically when somebody calls me, I'm thinking about all the other things that everybody else can do, and often organizing joint calls so we can all be there right from the beginning, asking the questions and really finding out what the needs are in a deeper way. So I think it's the collaborative work that we do that really supports our business owners in the counties in Akwesasne, because we all have different areas that we're focused on. Some of them are the same, but it's really, I find out something new every time I talk to one of my partners, put it that way. And I use that information to support any of my clients or prospective clients that come and talk to me.
And certainly anyone who's attending today should also attend Thursday. There's going to be an entirely separate panel. We're going to hear from Candy Pollard of the Cornwall Business Enterprise Center, Greg Petersma of Cornwall Area Chamber, Martha Woods of the Eastern Ontario Training Board, and Dennis Lapierre of the Ontario Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And they have a whole other set of resources that are also complimentary and that can help you in different ways. So please make sure you register. And while you're at it, register for our Wednesday and Friday sessions as well. So again, we really owe a big thanks to our sponsors. We hope you register for the rest of our sessions. Thanks to all our business owners, our presenters today, and we hope to see you tomorrow at tomorrow's event. Have a great afternoon, everyone.